For thousands of years, the galaxy believed it understood every species. Empires rose, empires fell, ancient powers slept and awakened again. But one small blue planet at the edge of the spiral arm always stayed untouched. Earth. No invasion fleets. No diplomatic ships. Not even a scout drone. The oldest species in the galaxy, the Valorians, avoided Earth like a plague, and nobody knew why, until today. The story begins with a young researcher named Aaron Salas, standing inside a massive alien library built on a drifting moon. He wasn't famous. He wasn't powerful, but he was curious. And curiosity, for a human, was always dangerous. For the first time in history, Aaron had been allowed inside the Hall of Forbidden Records, a place where only the Valorians were permitted. Now, he stood in front of a sealed crystal archive. The Valorian guide, a thin creature with silver skin and black eyes, trembled as it touched the lock. "You must understand," the creature whispered. "Once this opens, everything changes. Your people, they were never meant to know." Aaron frowned. "Why? Why does your entire species avoid Earth? Why does every map mark as a dead zone?" The Valorian hesitated, and for the first time, Aaron felt fear coming from a creature that lived for millions of years. "Because Earth carries the one thing the galaxy cannot fight," it answered. "It carries a secret older than all of us." The crystal case opened with a soft sound. A wave of cold air moved out like a ghost. Inside, Aaron saw a simple metal tablet covered in symbols that were definitely not Valorian. The symbols were sharp, chaotic, almost violent, as if carved during a storm. Aaron reached for it, but the Valorian grabbed his arm instantly. "Do not touch it." The last species that touched this tablet lost half their empire in 1 hour. Aaron froze. "What does it say?" The Valorian swallowed. "It says the truth of Earth." The tablet activated by itself and projected ancient holograms. Aaron stepped back as the room filled with the image of humans, but not humans like him. These were taller, stronger. Their eyes glowed like burning stars. They stood in front of things that looked like sleeping titans, giant machines, or maybe living beings, each the size of mountains. Then came the sound, a deep, thunder-like voice that shook the entire chamber. "The guardians of Earth shall not awaken again." Aaron felt his heart pounding. Guardians? Humans? The Valorian's voice trembled. "Your species is not young. You are not new. Humanity existed long before us. But something happened. Something erased your history. Something locked your planet." Aaron tried to understand. "But humans only appeared a few 100,000 years ago." The Valorian shook its head violently. "No. That is what your rewritten history shows. This," he pointed at the hologram, "is 1 million years old. The galaxy once feared humans, not because of war, not because of violence, but because of what sleeps beneath your planet's surface." Aaron's blood ran cold. "What sleeps there?" The Valorian didn't blink. "Something your ancestors created. Something even the ancient gods refused to face. Something that wakes only when humanity is threatened." The hologram changed again. Now it showed alien fleets, powerful, countless, and burning. They fired massive energy beams at Earth. But before even one beam reached the surface, something awakened. A light rose from Earth's oceans like a living sun, splitting into thousands of spears. Every attacking ship vaporized. Every enemy fleet vanished. And the ancient voice returned. "Earth shall not fall while even one human breathes." Aaron couldn't breathe. "So the oldest species in the galaxy avoids Earth because they're scared of us?" "No," the Valorian whispered. "Not scared of humans. Scared of what humans will awaken. The Valorians are the oldest species alive, but they are not the oldest species that ever existed. Your ancestors, those who lived before recorded time, created something that even we cannot understand." Aaron stepped closer to the hologram. "Then why did we forget? Why don't humans remember any of this?" The Valorian slowly closed the crystal archive. "Because you sealed your own memories. Your ancestors destroyed their own history to protect the galaxy from themselves. Humans chose peace by choosing ignorance." Aaron shook his head. That's impossible. The Valorian stared into his eyes. Then explain this. Human, why does every ancient prophecy say the same thing? If humanity learns the truth too early, the Guardians will wake again. Aaron felt a chill run through his body. But why now? Why show me this? The Valorian looked at him with deep sorrow. Because the galaxy is changing. New enemies are rising, and they know something we fear to admit. Aaron waited. The Valorian finally said it. They know Earth's secret, and they are coming to make humans remember. The hologram shut off, leaving the room in darkness. Aaron realized one terrifying thing. This wasn't a warning. Aaron left the Hall of Forbidden Records with shaking hands. The Valorian guide followed behind him, still trembling as if the shadows themselves were watching. The drifting moon station felt colder now, its long empty halls echoing with an ancient warning that refused to leave Aaron's mind. He tried to breathe normally, but something inside him had changed. He felt watched, not by the Valorians, not by the guards, but by something older, something that felt connected to Earth. As Aaron walked through a glass corridor, he looked out toward the stars. The galaxy looked peaceful from here, bright, endless, calm. But deep inside, he sensed it differently now. Like every star was holding a secret. Like the light itself was afraid. The Valorian suddenly stopped walking. Look, it whispered. Outside the station window, several bright objects appeared. At first, Aaron thought they were meteors. But they moved too smoothly, too controlled, forming a perfect triangle around the moon base. Ships. Unknown ships. Their shape was strange, long, sharp, almost like blades made of night. They carried no lights, no signals, no markings of any known empire. The Valorian's voice cracked. No, it is too early. They cannot be here already. Aaron pressed closer to the window. Who are they? The reason we showed you the archive, the Valorian whispered. The ones who want humans to remember. Aaron watched as the black ships slowly turned their fronts toward Earth's direction. They didn't attack. They didn't broadcast. They simply waited, as if listening to something he could not hear. Then one of the ships emitted a low vibration. Not sound. Something deeper. The entire station shook. Aaron felt the vibration inside his bones. What do they want? He asked. The Valorian looked at him, fear overwhelming its ancient eyes. They want to wake what sleeps under your world. Aaron felt a pulse inside his mind, soft, distant, like a heartbeat under the ocean floor. It wasn't painful. It was familiar, too familiar, as if something deep beneath Earth was calling to him. He stepped back. Did you feel that? No, the Valorian whispered. Only humans feel the pulse. Inside the station, alarms began to ring. Doors sealed. Guards rushed to the halls, carrying weapons designed for threats that attacked with matter, force, or energy. But these black ships didn't use anything known. They simply existed. And that was enough to shake the entire base. Aaron tried to contact Earth, but his communicator only buzzed with static. He tried again, nothing. The Valorian grabbed his arm. You must leave this moon, it said. If they are here, they will not allow the station to survive long. And you, human, you are the one they want. Aaron stared at the alien in shock. Me? Why me? Because you opened the archive, it said. Because you saw the truth. And because the pulse reached you. Only a small number of humans can hear it. They are marked by their ancient bloodline. Aaron shook his head. I'm just a researcher. I don't have any bloodline. That is what you believe, the Valorian whispered. Suddenly the lights flickered, then went out completely. The moon station plunged into darkness. The vibration returned, stronger now. Aaron fell to one knee as the pulse inside him grew louder. Not painful, but commanding, like a forgotten instinct waking inside him. He saw flashes in his mind. Tall humans with glowing eyes. Giant machines standing like mountains. A voice repeating, "Awaken when the threat returns." The darkness deepened until only emergency red lights came on. But Aaron wasn't looking at the hallway anymore. His eyes turned to a window on the right side. One of the black ships had moved closer, Much closer. Only a few kilometers from the station now. It was massive, its surface shifting like liquid shadow. A circular red mark glowed at its center, as if an eye had opened. Aaron stared at it. The ship stared back. And then something unbelievable happened. A whisper appeared in Aaron's mind. Not the station systems, not the Valorian, not any machine. A whisper from the ship. "Human, you are late." Aaron froze. Late for what? The ship's red mark brightened. "Your ancestors left you a task. Now you must complete it." Aaron backed away slowly. "I don't understand." "What task?" The ship responded with a second whisper, colder than space itself. "To wake them." The pulse inside Aaron exploded for a moment, like a shock wave traveling through time. He clutched his chest, gasping. The Valorian rushed to him. "What is happening?" Aaron looked up, his eyes wide. I think something under Earth just heard me." The Valorian stepped back in horror. "No, that cannot happen, not now. Human, listen to me. If the Guardians wake too early." The station shook violently as the black ship's shadow engulfed the entire window. Aaron whispered one terrified sentence. "They're not coming for Earth." He looked at the Valorian. "They're coming for me." The station kept shaking, as if a giant hand was pressing against its surface. Alarms screamed through the dark red hallways. Aaron tried to run, but the strange pulse inside him kept pulling his attention toward the window, toward the black ship that seemed to stare straight into his mind. The Valorian grabbed his wrist and dragged him toward the emergency hangar. "We must leave now," it shouted. "If they take you, Earth's fate changes forever." Aaron struggled to keep up. "Why me? Why would these ships want a single human? I'm nobody." The Valorian looked back with panic. "That is exactly why it is dangerous. Someone ordinary awakening the pulse? That means your lineage was hidden even from you." Aaron didn't understand any of this. He had been a researcher, not a soldier, not a chosen one, not part of any legend, but the pulse growing inside him said otherwise. It felt like something buried in his DNA was rising, slow, ancient, unstoppable. When they reached the hangar bay, the door slid open to reveal a small transport ship. But before they could reach it, the entire hangar shook again. The lights went out for a second time, and the air went cold, as if something unseen had entered the room. Aaron sensed it before he saw it. A shadow formed in front of the transport ship. Not a person, not a creature, a shape, like a moving crack in space itself. It expanded slowly, like a tear opening in reality. The Valorian froze. No, this is impossible. They are using dimensional entry. Only ancient beings could do that." The crack widened. From inside it, a tall figure stepped out. It was humanoid, but wrong. Its body was thin like stretched metal wire, covered in black armor that seemed to flow like liquid. Its face had no features except two dim red marks that pulsed like a heartbeat. Aaron felt the pulse in his own chest answer it. The Valorian stepped in front of Aaron. "Stay behind me. This creature is a herald." Aaron whispered. "A herald of what?" The alien did not take its eyes off the creature. "Of those who won't wake the Guardians." The herald took a slow step forward. Its feet made no sound. The armor shifted and rearranged itself, like it was alive. When it spoke, its voice did not come from its mouth. It came from inside Aaron's skull. "Human, your time has come." Aaron took a step back. "I don't even know who you are." The herald tilted its head. "You do not need to know. You only need to follow." The Valorian raised a trembling hand, generating a shimmering energy shield between them. "Leave him alone." The herald didn't even look at the shield. The energy field cracked like thin glass and shattered with a single pulse from the herald's chest. Aaron felt that same pulse echo inside him. The herald spoke again. "Your ancestors marked you. You carry the echo line. You must awaken what sleeps." Aaron's voice shook. "I don't want to awaken anything." The herald stepped closer. "Desire is irrelevant. Destiny calls, and the Guardians will answer." Before the herald could reach them, the Valorian pushed Aaron toward the transport. "Run. I will hold it back." Aaron shouted, "You can't fight that thing." "I do not need to win," the Valorian said. I only need to delay. The herald advanced, and the Valorian unleashed a burst of bright energy. The explosion rocked the hangar, throwing Aaron onto the ramp of the transport. His ears rang. Smoke filled the air. He scrambled inside the ship. Through the haze, he saw the Valorian lie on the floor, alive but weakened. The herald walked out of the smoke without a scratch. Aaron hit the launch control. The transport shot upward, breaking free from the hangar just as the herald raised one hand. A dark beam burst from its palm, barely missing the ship as Aaron accelerated away from the moon station. But something was wrong. He looked out the cockpit window. The black ship, massive and silent, moved in the same direction, tracking him, following him. The pulse inside his chest grew stronger, almost painful now. And then the herald's voice echoed across the void. "Human, you cannot run from your own blood." The transport's engine screamed as Aaron pushed them to maximum power. Stars blurred around him, but the black ship stayed close, too close. As Aaron tried to maneuver, he suddenly felt something else. A second pulse. Not from the ship, not from the herald, from Earth. A deep echo rolled through his mind, like a sleeping giant shifting under mountains. For a moment, Aaron could not move, could not breathe. The pulse carried a message, old, tired, but powerful. If you are calling us, then the galaxy is already in danger. Aaron's heart stopped. The Guardians were waking, not slowly, not gently. They were waking now, and every species in the galaxy would feel it. Aaron's ship sped to the darkness, but the black vessel behind him did not lose speed. It drifted effortlessly, as the space itself moved aside to let it pass. No matter how hard Aaron pushed the engines, the ship stayed locked on him. Silent, patient, unavoidable. The pulse inside Aaron kept growing. It felt like a second heartbeat, one that didn't belong to him. Not entirely. It carried weight, age, memories, as if a million sleeping eyes were slowly opening beneath Earth's oceans and mountains. Aaron gripped the controls tighter. "I'm not calling anything," he whispered to no one. "I don't want this." But Earth answered him again, another slow pulse, like something massive shifting in the deep. It wasn't words this time. It was more like a question. "Are you ready?" Aaron wasn't. Nobody could be. Suddenly, the ship's warning lights flashed. Something appeared on his radar, a massive energy disturbance directly ahead. Space rippled like water under a storm. The Valorian moon base sent a final message before its signal cut out completely. "Human Aaron, do not approach the disturbance. It is not natural." But it was too late. The disturbance grew into a swirling blue vortex. Aaron tried to steer away, but his ship's engines died for a moment, completely silent, like they were held by an invisible hand. Then he heard the herald's whisper again. "Do not resist. The path opens only for you." Aaron felt the pressure inside his skull rise. Memories that weren't as flash and fragments. Ancient cities of silver stone. Skies filled with bright machines shaped like wings. Humans walking with glowing symbols on their skin. But there was something else too. A war. Not fought with weapons, but with the awakening of giants. Aaron gasped aloud, forcing the memories away. "I am not one of them. I am not from that time." The vortex pulled stronger, dragging his ship toward the center. The black vessel following him didn't fight the pull. It simply glided into the spiraling energy like it belonged there. Aaron's ship dropped inside. For a moment, everything went white. Then silence. When Aaron opened his eyes again, he wasn't near the moon station anymore. He wasn't anywhere familiar. His ship floated in a vast region of space surrounded by broken ruins. Huge structures drifting quietly, like dead remains of something ancient. Tower-sized pillars of dark metal floated in slow motion. Fragments of circular gates. Broken spheres that once held unimaginable energy. It was like a graveyard of a forgotten civilization. Aaron whispered, "What is this place?" A voice answered him. Not Earth this time, not the herald. A new voice. Soft, old, female. "Welcome home, child of Echoline." Aaron spun to look around, but no one was inside the cockpit. The voice continued. "You stand in the afterfield, the battlefield where your ancestors made their final choice. Aaron felt chills run across his skin. Our ancestors fought here? No, the voice replied. They ended everything here. A bright light appeared in front of Aaron's ship, gentle, warm, floating like a small star. It pulsed in harmony with the echo in Aaron's chest. Who are you? Aaron asked. A memory, the light said, left by those who came before you. The light drifted closer, almost touching the ship's window. The galaxy thinks humans were new, but you were the last survivors of the first cycle. You chose to forget your power, erase your history, and sleep under a blue sky. Aaron shook his head. Why would we erase everything? The light dimmed for a moment, as if remembering pain. Because something was coming. Something even the Guardians could not stop. Your ancestors created the Guardians to defend Earth, but they knew the true threat. Aaron leaned forward. What threat? The light flickered again. Before it could answer, the entire afterfield shook violently. Aaron felt a wave of fear, not his own, but radiating from the ruins around him. The black ship had entered the battlefield, and with it, the Herald. Aaron grabbed controls as his ship drifted backward. The Herald's voice echoed through the void. Now you remember, just enough. The awakening must continue. Aaron shouted at the light. Tell me what the real threat is. Why does everyone fear Earth? The memory light brightened, almost blinding, because your ancestors did not hide from an enemy. Aaron's heart raced. They hit something. The afterfield erupted into shock waves as more black ships emerged. 10, 20, maybe more, surrounding the ruins like vultures waiting for a giant to die. The light spoke one final time before it vanished. They want what sleeps in the Earth's core. And once it wakes, the galaxy will kneel again. Aaron's breath caught, not because of fear, because deep below Earth's surface, something answered the Herald's presence with a roar only Aaron could hear, a roar that said, I am coming. Aaron's breath shook as the roar faded from his mind. It felt like the echo of a mountain collapsing, the cry of something vast and powerful turning in its sleep. The sound did not come from the ruins around him. It came from Earth, from deep below the crust, where no human had ever reached. The Herald floated closer, stepping across empty space, as if gravity did not exist for it. Do you hear it now? It whispered into Aaron's skull. The first core stirs. You cannot fight destiny. Aaron tried to keep control of the transport ship, but the pulse inside him, his awakening bloodline, kept sinking with Earth's core. Each beat grew louder, more intense, as if Earth was recognizing him, or calling him. The ruins around him lit up suddenly. Old rings of metal, broken, silent for thousands of years, began glowing with blue lines. They formed patterns across the battlefield. Lines connected ruins to ruins, creating a giant symbol across space. Aaron stared out of the cockpit window. What is happening? The symbol pulsed once. Then again, a hidden power awakened in the afterfield, reacting to Aaron's presence. It was as if the battlefield itself recognized him. Or worse, recognized the roar from Earth. The Herald raised one arm. This place waits for your command. You are Echo Line. It belongs to you. Aaron shook his head violently. No, I don't want this. I don't want to wake anything. The Herald stepped closer, its liquid black armor shifting like smoke. The galaxy is dying. Your ancestors created the Guardians to protect one world, but the first core... Aaron swallowed hard. What is the first core? The Herald paused, as if choosing its words carefully. The first core is not a machine and not a creature. It is both. It is the first of the Titans, older than stars, older than the galaxy's oldest species. It sleeps inside your world, hidden by ancient humans. Aaron's blood went cold. We hit it? Why? The Herald tilted its head. Because it chose you. Aaron stared. Chose humanity? No, the Herald whispered. It chose you. Aaron froze. That's impossible. I'm just one person. The Herald's red marks brightened. The first core only awakens to the voice of its speaker, and you are the last speaker. Aaron sat back, feeling the weight of something bigger than history pressing on him. But before Aaron could process anything, something else changed. The ruins around him began to reshape themselves. Broken pieces floated into the air, aligning into patterns. Massive rings of ancient metal locked into position. A massive structure, like a gate the size of a moon, began forming from drifting fragments. Aaron gasped. It's rebuilding itself. The herald nodded. Your presence reactivates the first cycle's forge. The gate will open to bring the first core to its full power. Aaron stared in horror. You want to pull out of Earth? The herald's whisper grew sharper. No, we want it awake. If the galaxy is to survive the coming threat, the first core must rise again. Aaron clutched the controls. What threat? What are we preparing for? The herald didn't answer. Instead, the space behind it bent and twisted. Another black figure stepped out of a tear in reality. Then another, and another. A full formation of heralds surrounded Aaron's ship. Dozens of them. Each one carried the same message in their silent red eyes. Awaken the first core. Aaron tried to push the ship away, but suddenly everything froze. Not the ship, not Aaron. Space itself froze. The heralds stopped moving. Their liquid armor paused mid-shift. The ruins halted their reconstruction. Even the swirling vortex leading back to normal space froze in place. Aaron looked around, confused. What is happening now? A cold wind blew through the cockpit, even though the ship was sealed. The temperature dropped so fast that frost formed on the controls. Then a second voice entered Aaron's mind. A voice deeper than the herald's. Older. Impossible to ignore. Speaker? Aaron's heart jumped. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, from Earth, from the afterfield, from inside him. Do not obey them. The heralds twitched, as if sensing something they couldn't see. Aaron spoke out loud, shaking. Who are you? The voice answered slowly, each word echoing like thunder trapped in a cave. I am the first core. Aaron froze. The heralds froze too. The cold wind intensified as the first core spoke again. The galaxy seeks my awakening, but they do not understand what I am. Aaron swallowed. Then what are you? A pause. A vibration rolled through the afterfield so powerful that even frozen space cracked. I am not a weapon. Another pulse. I am not a guardian. A third pulse, colder than death. I am the Yendi. Aaron's eyes widened in terror. The herald began to move again, slowly, panic spreading across their red markings. The first core spoke one last time in Part 5. If I awaken, the galaxy will not kneel. The voice darkened. The galaxy will fall. The frozen battlefield cracked like thin glass as the first core's final word echoed through Aaron's mind. Even the heralds, creatures who walked through dimensions, stumbled backward as if pushed by an invisible storm. Aaron felt the cold inside his chest intensify. It wasn't fear. It wasn't the heralds. It was the first core itself focusing on him. The herald nearest him hissed, its liquid armor rippling in panic. Speaker, do not listen. The first core lies. The first core's voice boomed across the afterfield, making the herald fall silent. I do not lie. I do not fear. I do not kneel. Aaron's ship vibrated violently. The control panels flickered. He held on to the seat to keep from being thrown out. Why me? Aaron shouted into the void. Why am I the speaker? I never asked for this. The first core answered softly, almost kindly. Because your soul remembers what your mind has forgotten. Aaron felt a wave of pressure in his head, like a memory trying to break through. But he shoved it down, refusing to let it control him. The heralds stood their ground, forming a protective circle around Aaron's ship. Speaker, one herald called. Your ancestors locked the first core inside her for a reason. We do not want to release it. We want you to control it. Aaron stared at the herald. Control it? It just said it is a Yendi. The herald's red lights flickered. Yes, the end of something far worse. Aaron's hand shook. Worse than the galaxy ending? The herald pointed toward the massive ruins around them. This battlefield was not where your ancestors ended a war. It was where they contained something. Something that broke the first cycle. Something that destroyed entire star systems. Aaron's voice cracked. What was it? The herald looked at him with something almost like sadness. It was not an enemy. It was not a monster. It paused. It was humanity. Aaron's heart stopped for a moment. The first core's voice thundered. They do not understand what you were. The herald stepped forward, defying the freezing air. We understood perfectly. The first cycle humans became too powerful. Their emotions shaped reality. Their minds commanded forces older than physics. You were unstoppable. You built the Guardians, a core, and machines that rewrote stars. Aaron felt dizzy, gripping the controls tighter. And my ancestors destroyed all that? No, the herald whispered. They lost control. A silent shockwave pulsed through the afterfield as the ruins trembled. The herald pointed at the drifting structures. This place, this graveyard, is where humanity fought itself. Aaron's voice became barely a whisper. You mean humans destroyed humans? Not war, the herald said. A collapse. Their power grew too great. Their abilities awakened too early. The galaxy's balance broke. Planets cracked. Stars dimmed. Reality twisted. And the first core, created to stabilize your abilities, could not hold them anymore. Aaron's pulse matched the core's rhythm inside him. The first core finally spoke again. I tried to save them. The herald shook its head. And you failed. So your ancestors sealed their own minds, removed their power, buried their history, hid the core in Earth Center. Aaron felt tears burning in his eyes. So, humans erased themselves to stop themselves? The herald nodded softly. Yes, the first cycle humans chose peace through ignorance, chose a new beginning, chose to become weak intentionally. The first core growled like a waking titan. Weak, but alive. The herald then pointed straight at Aaron. But now the natural cycle is breaking again. Something in the galaxy has awakened that your ancestors feared even more than their own power. Aaron's voice cracked. What is it? What is coming? The herald's red lights flickered faster. The Void Swarm. Aaron whispered the name, feeling a chill run down his spine. What is the Void Swarm? The herald answered slowly. The thing that destroyed the first cycle humans. Aaron froze. But you said humans destroyed themselves. No, the herald said, stepping closer. Humans began to collapse. Yes, but the Void Swarm fed on their power. It consumed star systems, growing stronger with every human ability it absorbed. Aaron stared at him. So the first core wasn't made to help humans? It was made to contain them, the herald replied, so the swarm could not feed anymore. The first core's voice rumbled like shifting mountains. I contain everything. I end everything. Aaron felt a wave of terror as he realized the truth. The first core wasn't just a sleeping titan. It was the seal. And Aaron, the speaker, was the key. The herald spoke urgently. We need the first core awake, not in the galaxy, but to stop the Void Swarm. The swarm is moving again. It has sensed your awakening. Aaron felt the echo in his chest strengthening. The first core whispered, If I awaken, I will break the seal, and the swarm will smell you. Aaron whispered back through shaking lips. So either I awaken you and destroy everything, or I let the Void Swarm come and destroy everything anyway. The first core went silent. The herald went silent. Even the afterfield went silent. Silence filled the afterfield. It was a kind of silence that felt alive, waiting, watching. Aaron sat in the cockpit, trembling, as the impossible truth settled over him. He was a speaker. Earth was a seal. The first core was the key. And the Void Swarm was coming again. The herald surrounded Aaron's ship, their armor flickering with panic. Even they, the beings who walked through dimensions, looked frightened. Speaker, one herald said, you must decide. If you awaken the first core, it may destroy the galaxy. The first core's voice rumbled like a dying star. I destroy only to contain. But if you do nothing, the herald continued, the Void Swarm will devour the galaxy and then you. Aaron slammed his fist against the controls. I don't want anyone destroyed. There has to be another way. The herald shook its head. Your ancestors searched for one. They failed. The first core spoke calmly. There was one path they did not try. Aaron froze. The heralds froze. The afterfield itself seemed to lean closer. Aaron whispered, "What path?" The first core answered with surprising gentleness. "You." Aaron blinked. "Me? I'm not strong. I'm not a titan. I'm not a first cycle human." The first core's voice grew softer. "Exactly. You are not a god. You are not corrupted by power. You are the balance they never had." The herald stepped forward urgently. "Speaker, be careful. The core is manipulating you. It wants freedom." But the core ignored the herald. "Your ancestors sealed me because they feared losing control. But you do not seek control. You seek peace." Aaron felt his pulse sinking again, this time calmer, clearer. The first core said, "If you speak to me, not as a ruler, not as a weapon, but as a human, I can awaken differently." Aaron frowned. "What does differently mean?" The herald answered instead. "A partial awakening, a controlled state, a bond, one that has never been attempted." Aaron suddenly understood. Humans had always been extreme, too powerful or too weak, too destructive or too fragile. Balance was the one thing they never achieved. But he wasn't a first cycle human. He wasn't a god. He wasn't chosen by power. He was chosen because he wasn't powerful. Aaron took a deep breath. "What do I have to do?" The herald shouted, "Speaker, wait." But the first core drowned it out. "Only speak. Speak your truth. Speak your intention. And I will shape myself around it." Aaron closed his eyes. He felt the echo inside his chest. He felt Earth breathing through him. He felt the ruins waiting for his voice. And for the first time, he spoke to the core, not as a seal, not as a god, not as a weapon, but as a human. "I don't want to end the galaxy," Aaron whispered. "I don't want the void swarm to win. I don't want power or control. I only want life to continue. I want peace. And I want Earth, my home, to be safe." The afterfield glowed. Ruins aligned. Broken machines hummed. The heralds fell silent. Aaron continued, "I won't let the galaxy fall. I won't let you lose control. But I won't let the void swarm consume everything either. So if you can help without destroying, then awaken." A long silence followed. Then a glow appeared at the center of the afterfield. Bright, white, pure, not violent like before, not chaotic. Instead, it pulsed like a heartbeat synced with Aaron's own. The first core spoke with a tone the galaxy had never heard. "Then I awaken as your partner." Space trembled. The herald stared in shock as the ruins around them reshaped, not into weapons, but into a single, massive structure that resembled a sleeping giant rising from its grave. The first core formed a shape, humanoid, towering, glowing with controlled power. Not a destroyer, not a god, not an end. Something new, a Guardian 2.0, built from the past, shaped by the human in the present. A living titan connected directly to Aaron's heartbeat. Aaron gasped as energy shot through him, not painful, not overwhelming, balanced. For the first time in countless ages, the core spoke without echo, without thunder. "Hello, speaker." Aaron whispered back, "Hello, partner." The heralds dropped to one knee, not out of fear, but respect, because they understood. Humanity had done something the first cycle never could. They found balance. The first core turned its massive head toward distant stars, toward the direction where the void swarm would one day appear. "Let them come," it said. "This time, humanity will not face them alone." Aaron felt hope rise inside him. Earth was no longer just a hiding place. It was the birthplace of the galaxy's strongest alliance. A human, and the ancient titan made to contain everything. Together, the final pulse echoed across space. Humanity was awake, and the oldest species in the galaxy finally understood. Earth was not dangerous because of what it hid. Earth was dangerous because of what it could become.